welcome Must Players. I'm Mark Santamartino and this is your weekly dose of all things video games, film, entertainment, frankly, anything we want to talk about. Sitting to my left and smelling almost like the butter chicken that Maso ordered today is Julian Price.
My eyes started watering as soon as you said that.
How are you, Jules?
Maybe I've rubbed some curry in my eye. I'm good.
Good. And Maso? All good?
Butter chicken, top notch.
Satisfied?
From across the road. Great.
This episode sponsored by the Indian restaurant across the street from me.
Free sticky balls.
Free sticky balls.
Yeah.
They did really
I
well.
don't know what they were called, but they were kind of yummy.
Sort of like
Let's call them sticky balls.
Yeah, why not? Indian sweet dumpling slash
Freezies.
dessert. Yeah, we'll take it. Gentlemen, big week of news. Potentially one of the biggest yet. We've got so much on our rundown, but of course we're all still focused on one thing this week, Maso.
Red Dead Redemption.
How can you not be?
Comes out, well, as we record this, in maybe 4 hours.
It'll be out.
It'll be out. But one thing I want is my PC version.
Yeah. And
Really
you have
want-
no idea when it's coming.
No idea.
We'll talk about that. And Jules, it's a scary kind of week.
Yeah, well, let's focus on the scariest day of the year,
Ooh.
Halloween. Although, arguably, Friday the 13th could be up there too. But Halloween is next week, Wednesday for us in Australia. So we should talk about the scariest games we've played.
And we will be talking a bit about Friday the 13th too. That coming up in the news headlines starting right now. And it begins with a film franchise which many of us thought may be dead. But apparently...
We
Hoped was dead.
We hoped was dead.
Personally.
Apparently Pirates of the Caribbean, that famous franchise which spawned 5 movies, one of them good. Meso would argue none of them good.
The first one.
First one was good. I really liked the second one too, but apparently there is a reboot in the works. Now, Disney is considering revitalising the franchise with the writers of Deadpool, Rhett Reese, as well as Paul Wernick in the early box seat. Apparently they're in early talks. There's no word yet on whether or not Johnny Depp or anyone else from the franchise will be returning. No Orlando
Face
Bloom.
of it, Johnny Depp is the face of Pirates of the
Yeah.
Caribbean.
He is.
The only reason they've continued making these movies is because Johnny Depp agreed to be in
And
them.
he's such a popular character,
And I
Jack
want to see
Sparrow.
what animals he tries to sneak into our country this time.
Well, you know what? They've made $4.5 billion across 5 movies, so with a bit of Disney's help, I'm sure he could bring in whatever chihuahua he wants. That's really all there is to say. I mean, I don't know whether a Pirates movie would work without Johnny Depp. That'll be interesting. Maybe you can let us know who you'd potentially like to see as the titular pirate character. But I don't know if he's going to be in it. I don't know if... and maybe we see this be an R-rated Pirates movie, given that it's got the Deadpool, helmet.
I'd watch it if
I'd
it
watch
was
that. Yeah.
Would you?
a bit more mature.
Yeah.
I don't know how they would
just
do
like
it.
me.
Because, pirates are famous for pillaging and plundering, and you certainly don't want to have anything to do with the R word in there, but
No.
that's a reality for pirates.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
could it be a reboot as a TV series? Could we see a Game of Thrones styled Pirates of the Caribbean
I think
HBO?
I hope not.
I think if we did that, we'd run out of... The TVs would explode. There's that much stuff coming out.
To be honest, that is one of my favourite theme songs of all time. So as long as they just give me an hour and a half where like 90% of it is playing that dun 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 dun
It was my
dun.
ringtone for about 2 years.
Great song. Reason why I bought a keyboard and failed to play anything on it. Because I thought, I can learn this. And absolutely could not. Still in the realm of movies, Wonder Woman 1984 has been delayed to 2020. 2 dates in there, supremely confusing. It was supposed to be coming out November 1st next year. It has now been pushed back to the original date it was supposed to be coming out, which is June 5th, 2020. Now, both Gal Gadot, of course, who plays Wonder Woman, as well as Warner Brothers themselves, have tried to put a positive spin on this, saying that it's going to be coming out in the summer, when the original movie came out, which of course did so well, both in reviews and at the box office. And they're saying, it's like a homecoming for them. But really, I think they're just trying to put a positive spin on a negative delay.
I wonder what Marvel movie comes out on November 1st.
Yeah.
They've just realised and gone, oh,
There's so many. So many. Speaking of Marvel's rival DC, of course, that's where Wonder Woman lives. The Joker movie. We finally have an update. We thought it was going to be all Joker, but Jules, apparently Batman's going to be involved in some way, shape, or form.
Well, yeah, pre-Batman Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
Little child
a
Batman.
little pubescent Batman.
Yeah.
I actually don't know what age. When did he actually become Batman?
Late 20s?
Yeah.
You say late 20s?
After he finished school.
He was a playboy for a while, and of
Yeah,
course he
yeah.
was in the orphanage, so who knows when he actually became Batman. But apparently Dante Pereira Olsen, a name that I'm sure I have butchered, has been cast as a young Bruce Wayne, and Douglas Hodge, the man who played Robin Hood, is going to be as Alfred Pennyworth, his butler. Don't know how much more there is to say. I mean, again, the Joker movie wasn't something anyone here was particularly interested in from what we'd seen.
All I know is that we're going to get a flashback of Bruce Wayne's parents being killed
Yeah.
in an alleyway.
Yeah.
If we get that again,
That's
I'm going to be
guaranteed.
furious.
That's guaranteed.
Everyone just knows it.
Yeah.
Surely they don't need to.
They wasted like 40 minutes on that in
Yeah.
Batman versus Superman. It was the most... That movie was already 40 minutes too long. That's how you fix
Yeah.
it. Just axe that and you're fine. We know who Batman is.
We know.
God, there's so much movie news this week. And LeBron James, we know that he moved to the LA Lakers because he wanted to focus on his entertainment company a bit more. Now we have this news that Spring Hill Entertainment as well is in partnership with Vertigo Entertainment, the latter of which are apparently in talks to produce a new iteration telling the gory happenings of Camp Crystal Lake, which of course is where Friday the 13th is set. Huge news for this week.
And LeBron's killing it in the movies at the moment. No pun
Well,
intended.
he hasn't actually produced anything. I mean,
Space Jam.
You know,
isn't coming
that's
out. It
what
might
I was
be
coming
terrible.
off of. Space
Yeah.
Jam 2.
Yeah.
That's pretty big.
a lot of positive news.
Yeah. Space Jam 2
We'll
might.
just have to see the outcome.
I loved him in what's the name?
Trainwreck?
Yeah, Trainwreck.
Trainwreck
I think
with
he's
Amy.
hilarious.
Yeah, he played, but he played LeBron James.
Well, yeah, like a cheap LeBron James.
Yeah, and I suppose he'll just play LeBron James in Space Jam, so he'll be fine. But
yeah.
as for whether or not, could you imagine if he ends up in Friday the 13th?
Will he survive? Because
It would be great if there was like a training montage. LeBron comes to teach the kids at camp, and he's the first one to get stuck in the movie.
yeah.
Please, make that happen, Mr. 23. King James, you can get stuck in a movie. But of course, as successful as all of the Marvel movies we've been speaking about have been in the cinema, it turns out that on the silver screen, particularly when it comes to Netflix, they're not doing as well as maybe Disney and Marvel would have hoped. We got the news not too long ago that Iron Fist had been cancelled, which, to be honest, I didn't see as any big loss. But now we've also got the news that Luke Cage has been cancelled.
I liked Luke Cage.
You liked it?
Yeah.
See, I never was able to get through Iron Fist or Luke Cage. I tried, but I just thought they're both strong. I don't know where you sit on this, Maso, but
Well,
apparently...
Jessica Jones is strong.
Yeah.
Like, all three are essentially the same superpower.
Yeah.
They are.
Maybe she's next on the chopping block.
Well, if I tell you what's next on the chopping block would be the Defenders, because I didn't think that was much chop.
Well, to be honest, I feel like The Defenders has really hurt the third season of Daredevil, which has just come out, because it lost a lot of momentum. That being said, I'm a big Daredevil fan, loved the first two seasons, couldn't really get through The Defenders, but I am really enjoying the start of season 3.
Well, I haven't started it yet.
No,
No
I haven't
spoilers?
I haven't watched Daredevil. I watched Jessica Jones.
It's just, he's a different superhero. You know, the fact that he's deaf just adds so much of a layer to his character, particularly because he's also a lawyer, and, you know, he's also sort of mixing those two worlds and trying to balance them. And the fact that he comes off or starts season 3 with one of his ears being deaf, you know, that just completely derails his life. I love it. But who knows? Maybe Jessica Jones, which I don't know how well received the second season was.
Yeah, not as good.
Maybe she's next on the chopping block. Speaking of things we can probably do without, EA has come out with an update for Battlefront 2, the game that no one bought because they butchered the microtransactions and I suppose the PR for this game before it came out in November last year. Almost a year later, we have finally had a character added to the roster who was already there in Battlefield 1. And frankly, I'm surprised it's taken that long for General Grievous.
He's a very cool character.
Cool character, and you could literally just port him over, but it has taken them a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very strange. Very
Interestingly,
strange.
it's not paid content, is it, Jules?
I don't know, is it?
Don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was paid content.
Everything in Battlefront 2 is
You'd
paid.
hope he's just added.
I think it's a free update.
I haven't looked into that because honestly, I'm not going to play the game.
Not going to put it back in the PlayStation?
No.
You done?
No, it's gone.
Gone.
Well, apparently also included in this update, we're going to get a sort of Clone Wars era playlist for Hero Showdown as well as Heroes versus Villains. So if that interests you, you will be able to check that out next week when it launches. One thing I am excited about. Here we go.
His big one.
I've been waiting for some Smash Brothers news.
Going down Flinders Street today. It was up there on the big.
Was it?
Yeah, on the big poster on Flinders Street there.
Oh, like on the sort of electronic billboard.
On the one that curves around Elizabeth Street.
They had Smash Brothers up there.
Sandra,
Which
where
one?
are you? You're late for
Elizabeth
work.
Street,
Oh, I'm at
Flinders.
Flinders
Elizabeth
Street.
Street and Flinders.
Oh,
on the
okay,
corner
cool.
there. Yeah.
Well, that makes me more excited because it's good to know that Melbourne is getting behind the launch of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is going to be the ultimate version of this game. Like, I've played, the past 5? I've played and bought the past 5, and I could not be more excited for this 6th one, of course.
I can't believe there's been 5.
Yeah.
I played the 64 one.
64, GameCube, Wii, and then we got the 3DS and the Wii U one, which was sort of the same game, but I bought it twice anyway. Well, obviously, it's only a month and a half away, and the hype is still there. I mean, other big games have come out, so it sort of feels like it's toned down a bit, but we know we're still going to get a few character reveals before it officially launches, and in fact, today it turned up that there was a post to a French website or a post on Reddit from a French PR company of that fantastic mural that they're slowly piecing together of all the characters who are going to be involved in this ultimate version of the game. And apparently, there are 7 more characters that are unannounced. Now, we should just quickly say, take this with a massive grain of salt. Just throw all the salt that you have in your house out, because it's the blurriest image I think anyone's ever seen. And it could have easily been doctored, but there are hints here and there that it might be a little bit more real than people are letting on. But apparently, Shadow from Sonic the Hedgehog is going to be in there, as well as Ken from Street Fighter.
Ken?
Probably.
Mate, Ken.
Not excited.
Good old Kenny. Yeah.
As Echo Fighters, so they're not the interesting ones. But as new fighters, Isaac from Golden Sun, which, I mean, I could do without, but I understand fans are pretty excited for that one. There's Mac Ryder from the classic NES title, which I don't know how you're going to make a motorcyclist playable. There's also Gino from Super Mario RPG, the Chorus Kids from Rhythm Heaven, and my boy Banjo. He's turned up. He's turned up. Look, I don't know if this is going to happen. I'm hoping it does, because Microsoft said that they were willing to work with Nintendo. I don't know. Jules, you got a Switch. I mean, were you going to buy this game?
I probably will, but you'll have to play with me because I don't have any friends.
You know, if I play with you, you're going to be destroyed. And I'm supremely competitive, so I'm not going to let up.
He's very competitive.
Right.
Doesn't make you more.
I just hope Banjo, because if he comes over the top, that's one of his moves and pecks him.
I'm certain that will be a move.
hope that's
If that's not a move, I will
That
be.
is the exact sound. Well done.
You got to expect that to be in there for sure. And Jules, you can do the sound for the game if ever you need to earn an extra bit of cash on the side. Into the realm of tech, something that we don't focus enough on, but
Can I just say,
a big one. Yes.
you said into the realm again.
Yeah, but I haven't used it yet in this episode.
No, you have.
Have I? Damn it. Really got to work on my segues. That's okay.
Into the realm.
We'll improve. All right. Putting video games aside for technology, Apple has finally brought out its cheaper version of the brand new iPhone, which I think a lot of people might have been holding off on. I mean, if you didn't want to spend close to $1,700 for the base iPhone XS, they have finally brought out the XR, which is a little bit smaller. And from what I can tell, it doesn't have the extra camera on the back. But besides that, the chip inside it is exactly the same. And it's so much cheaper. It's $1,229 here in Australia.
Cheaper.
Well, I mean, cheaper compared to the $1,629.
It's $400 off,
Well,
really.
2.5 for the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
it's
mean,
still an astronomical amount of money for a phone.
as somebody though who has completely disregarded iPhones since the X first came out, just simply because it was a $500 price increase in Australia, I think this might be able to get some of those just more casual Apple fans back on the iPhone bandwagon, because it's a lot of money, especially if you're buying it outright. And that will be out as we speak. Speaking of iOS, Stardew Valley, Jules.
Yeah, coming to, well, it's out now.
It's out now.
Android and iOS.
One of the most popular games ever, really. It was super popular on Steam. It's killing it on the Nintendo Switch at the moment. Is now finally coming to everyone's mobile, which means I feel like there's going to be a massive wave of support for this game.
Oh, yeah. I love it on my phone. It's great for just a little 5 minute.
And it's
That's
addictive.
exactly right.
Yeah.
And I think I would play it more on my phone than I would on my Switch.
100%. Especially if you need to catch the train to work.
Yeah,
You can knock out a day in Stardew Valley in 20 minutes, half an hour. So that is the perfect amount of time for anyone on public transport. At least
It's almost what it's made for.
Yeah.
I reckon it'd be great.
Well,
Frankly-
they say it's an optimized version as well. So.
It's surprising that it's actually taken this long for it to come to iOS. I would have thought it was, the sort of common sense thing to do after it.
After it blew up.
After it blew up initially
Well,
on the Steam
I
Store.
guess it takes them a while to port it over there.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
So,
But great news.
Completely different. Speaking of games we're excited about, I don't think anyone can look past the sequel to this little game right here. Red Dead Redemption 2, by the time this podcast is out, we'll be playing it.
yeah.
We're only hours away currently. Maso, you have already installed it.
Yep. Bought the digital copy. Hit download. Went to sleep for 17 hours. and then I got up. It took about 17.
Wait, you slept for 17
No,
hours?
no. I think I started downloading home from work, and then had dinner, watched a movie, went to bed, woke up in the morning, and had done 90 gig of the 92.7. I think the download was.
So you're telling me this is an 18-hour download, effectively?
Effectively, well, it took me at home on my internet 18 hours to download.
Jeez, that is a long amount of time. I hope anyone else...
when they release it, a week out.
Yeah.
If you got a week to download it, that's no problem at all.
That is the digital version, though.
The digital version.
For people that want to buy a physical.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is great they do that.
I'm weighing up whether... by the time we finish recording here, it's probably time for me to go and pick up the game anyway.
Yep. Smart. Use your time wisely. Don't worry about work tomorrow. But, I mean, of course, we've spoken about the fact it's a massive download. 92 gigs, you were saying, Maso, for your original PlayStation. That's without the 4K textures and all that. Mm-hmm. But we also know that it's going to be 2 discs. So it'll be interesting to see how that works in practice.
I think they'll just have one just download onto your system, and then one will just be a playable disc, I'd say.
Do you reckon it's a multiplayer... One, maybe it separates multiplayer and single player? We should probably have done some research before this, but we wanted to quickly touch on Red Dead Redemption 2. I know it's ridiculous to just sit here and talk about how excited we are for this game, even though, from what I understand, you weren't all that hooked by the first one, Maso?
I wasn't that hooked. I pushed through and finished it, but I can't say that I just wanted to play it. And it wasn't easy for me to finish. I pushed through and finished it. But that doesn't, I'm still pretty excited for this one. Yeah.
Well, I watched my brother play a lot of the first one, but I've never actually played it myself. It's just, this game looks so gorgeous. We know what Rockstar can do. Even though I'm not a big fan of the Grand Theft Autos, I feel like this setting will intrigue me a lot more. Just the fact that it's something a bit different. We don't have too many Western games. And we just found out today that there's going to be a really interesting twist on the way you can play that almost makes the Wii U have a bit of a spiritual comeback.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a companion app, which basically means all of the HUD will be pulled off the screen and displayed on a tablet or your phone.
It is optional.
Yeah.
But it sounds really cool. You can have the map just on your phone or your iPad in front of you and see where you are on the map in the game. It just... And I think that's a really good use of a companion app. We've had so many companion apps in the past. Like there was the Pip-Boy for Fallout.
That's the other one I was trying to think of. There was one for GTA 5.
No, I downloaded it, looked at it, and never used it again.
Yeah.
GTA 5 had one.
Yeah.
Battlefront had one, but I think this one could be a goer.
I remember I think Microsoft announced sort of that stuff. They wanted to, Surface to be more heavily integrated with their games, but it never really came to fruition. But this one's interesting because it's just a optional extra. Take it or leave it. And I think if you get to remove everything off the screen and just be lost in this beautiful panorama of scenery that, they've made, and we've seen so many great screenshots of, don't see why not.
I will definitely be using it because the one game I've been playing heaps of, Escape from Tarkov, has no HUD. It just has the screen. And it's really effective to play a game like that. It's really effective. So
my favourite game, or one of my favourite first-person shooters of all time, and it's only because I accidentally ticked something off in the settings to make this happen, was, I think it was King Kong on the original Xbox.
King Kong, oh my God.
I can't remember what the subtitle was, but I accidentally ticked the box where it said I had no aiming reticule.
Oh, yep.
So when you're out in the wild of the jungle and you've got a gun and you just got to hope that you're sort of pointing in the middle of the screen at this enemy or you're throwing a spear, that was great.
Yeah.
Because you do get lost in it a bit more and it doesn't remind you that you're playing a video game. So if they can integrate this into Red Dead, I think it'll be great. Although, we've brought this up a couple of weeks in a row in regards to Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
But each of us here do not have PlayStation 4 Pros. We do not have Xbox One X's. We are on the original generation hardware. And
we are worried.
We are worried. Why are we worried, Maso?
With Assassin's Creed, with Jules was saying with Spider-Man, and from what I saw, I watched the beta of Fallout 76 this week, and the frame rate for those, 3 games is
just a
low.
disclaimer though, like Spider-Man was still playable.
I thought Spider-Man was great.
I only had a couple of moments.
It's still very much playable, but the frame rate looks low on the low. It looks in the 20s, which is fairly low.
It is a concern because with a game like this, where at least from what we've seen, we're assuming that all of the pictures, all of the trailers have been PS4 Pro or just simply developer-based trailers, where it's not really going to reflect what it looks like in practice. But when we are on the older hardware, which is now 4 or 5 years old,
it's old, yeah.
I do have concerns that it's potentially not going to hold up, particularly when we've seen Fallout 76, which is another sort of big open world, chug a little bit. I know it's still in beta form, but you never know.
And same with Assassin's Creed. Like that Assassin's Creed's world and sort of content, you would say would be equal to Red Dead. That sort of hours, that many side missions, and it's very similar. And Assassin's
Seamless
Creed,
world,
is battling as well. I'd say the old PS4s and the old Xboxes would be running pretty hot.
We will give you our first hands-on impressions because none of us here have played the game hands-on when we are recording our episode next week. 3 hours to go. And mainly because we're not going to be able to get a review out in 1 week, let's be honest. No, but we will give you our first impressions. Why not? Let us know if you are already playing Red Dead Redemption 2, what you think of it. Is it living up to the hype? Are you genuinely happy with this next iteration in Rockstar's entire production history? Because we only get a game from them once every 5 years or so. So
once every 4
it's a
or 5
milestone.
years. Yep.
And finally, given it's Halloween week, Jules, you already alluded to it. We want to get in the spirit of our favourite orange-based holiday. Scariest video games we've ever played. I mean, I don't know. We've got a few down here that I've written down, but I don't know.
Oh, these are the ones you've written down?
Yeah, these are mine, so don't say it.
I've added 2.
Sorry, apologies. Jules, why don't you kick us off?
All right, well, more...
Scariest games, and set the scene. Okay. How old were you? What time of day were you playing this?
Only last year.
So too old.
I was a full-grown man.
A full-grown man-child. Outlast is the most recent games that I played, 1 and 2. I loved the games. I really got drawn in, but they were terrifying.
Yeah.
I was completely terrified playing these games, but it was just so... I just had to keep pushing through and... Yeah, so Outlast is definitely the one for me.
I never played that, but I watched that. I watched a lot of streams of Outlast, and I was screaming even when I wasn't on the controller.
Yeah, they're like comedy streams on Twitch. You get the streams. I've never played Outlast, and they do it for like Halloween. Yeah. It's hilarious to watch them.
Play it if you ever get a chance. If you're a fan of Resident Evil, I think...
Well, now that you've mentioned it, I should probably say Resident Evil. I mean, I'm a Resident Evil fan. I love... I mean, my favourite game in the series is 4. And that sort of wasn't as scary as the initial ones, I think, where you had that fixed camera perspective and sort of made you feel a little claustrophobic at times. But my God, I still screamed a hell of a lot in Resident Evil 4. But I reckon when they moved back to the when they moved to the first-person perspective for the first time in Resident Evil 7, I haven't even played it in VR yet, and I was terrified. But for weeks, I had people in my house screaming up the stairs, going, can you stop playing that game? Because you were just freaking everyone else out as we were loudly bellowing every single time we turned a corner. But that one in particular, I think given the fact that it's got VR options as well, probably up there.
Yeah.
In terms of scariest games. The other one that I had written down was Condemned on the original Xbox. I'm talking a lot about the original Xbox today, but I still remember that was one of the first games, I think it might have been a launch game actually, and my cousin had that when he first bought it on day one, and that was the first game we played. We sort of got the Xbox home at night and just sat there for hours going through these really narrow hallways, just being absolutely freaked out. It was great.
That's good. You've also got The Evil Within there. I played that. That was pretty scary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mine's a weird one in that it's not a scary game, but the sensation it gave me petrified me. To this day, I haven't finished. I can't go back on it. I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but it's Subnautica.
I do not even know what that game is.
That's that underwater game.
Yeah, it's on Steam. I highly recommend it. It's a great game. For about 2 or 3 hours, because you're basically you're on this spaceship. It crashes into an ocean world, and you're Kevin Costner. and so you dive in. You've got to find resources. You build a little base and all this sort of stuff, and all's going swimmingly. And then you start venturing a little bit further out, and you start going a little bit deeper, and just that fear of being underwater, and you'll just see a shadow, and you're like,
no.
And then that started to take over me, and I was like, oh, this is starting to get freaky. And then I just didn't think anything of it, and then I was looking for some sort of metal or something like to build something, and I don't know what it was, but it came out of the shadows, and I just hit escape.
Quit. Not playing anymore.
I'm out. Yeah, I can't go back to it.
You know what was
I cannot play it.
particularly scary? And I mean, we talk a lot about The Last of Us, but there's one, I wouldn't say I was scared in The Last of Us, except for that one section where you are underground. You know, when you're sort of in the basement and it all goes dark and you've got to turn the generators back on. And there's those big fat clickers in there as well. And you've got to get the key card.
When they get you as well.
Yeah,
that whole animation sequence is horrifying.
Absolutely terrible.
I'm telling you, if anyone out there has not heard of Subnautica and not played it, play it. I reckon it's one of the games of the year.
You're giving me a mission in a week that Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out. It's not going to happen, man.
Just a really quirky one from someone we work with, which I can see how they would be scared. Tomb Raider, the original Tomb Raider game on PlayStation.
The original Tomb Raider game?
What was scary about that?
Every time she died, it was just terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
For this person.
For this person.
Yeah.
I can't. Is it?
I can see. I remember playing it as a kid and going, I do not want to die.
Yeah.
It was pretty full on.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I suppose things scare you when you're a kid. I suppose
I suppose you got to be in that age though.
Or when that leopard jumped, like you got to dodge the leopard.
That's right. Yeah, the leopard.
I always found the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, because I was 6 or 7 when that game came out. When you get to the Spirit Temple and there's the mummies, which have that shrill shriek at you, and you're petrified for like 5 seconds.
And you go to like slow mo, don't you?
Yeah,
you freeze.
that was
Because
terrifying.
when I was a kid, mine was. This is going to show a bit here. Mine was Doom 95.
But that's all right. Doom was scary. It was demons.
But Doom. It's not a graphically.
Doesn't matter.
But for its time, it was the best you got.
For its time, it was the best it was. But that was petrified for me. But again, I would have been Doom 95. Well, I was 10. Yeah.
Fear is all atmospheric.
Yeah.
Which is why I also put this game down, and it's the last one I want to mention. And of course, if you have anything that particularly scared you as a video game over your time playing, let us know at mustplay.net.au or in the comments below. But I still remember, in terms of atmosphere, having all of my cousins around, sitting in one room together, playing the sequence in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets when...
We nearly got through an episode without talking about Harry Potter.
We mention it way too much. It's because it's defined me as a video game player, because it was the first game I ever played with the right thumbstick. But anyway, the sequence where all the spiders in the Forbidden Forest are coming for you, we were screaming. Screaming our heads off. Mind you, under the age of 10, but still. Scary.
And spiders are scary.
Spiders are very scary.
Yeah.
Always. I'm glad we could finish on that note and just agree.
Harry Potter, he's got him in there.
That is it for episode 18 of Must Play. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. If you have anything you'd like to say, let us know at mustplay.net.au or below in the comments. Of course, you can also listen to this as an audio podcast, and if you are listening to that, you can tune in on YouTube to see what each of our 3 pretty ordinary faces looks like. And unfortunately, there's no 4D aspect where they can smell the butter chicken on us, but...
Well, they're missing out.
You're missing out.
That's coming.
It's on my hands.
Next generation. That's 5G. Whenever 5G rolls around, that's what we're going to do. Of course, leave us a like, subscribe, give us 5 stars, thumbs up, whatever you can. We really do appreciate your support. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.